lemon tie and sort of slightly off-white shirt, but always nice to have you.
I thought I was looking great this morning, but I look great on radio.
No, actually, you are looking fine. Mark Clement, sports journalist based in Middlesbrough. Hello, Mark.
Good afternoon to you,
But
Sam.
you'd rather be called Clem, I know.
Well, you know, it's up to you. It's one of those stupid nicknames from school days. I'm wearing pink in sympathy with Borough's ties, actually. I've got a lovely shade of cerise long-sleeve T-shirt on, so I'm flying the flag because I'm a Borough fan.
Did it start off as pink, or did it just become pink after a few washes?
No, it was specifically purchased about 2 weeks ago in Amsterdam, and I don't know why I wasted my money, because it's awful.
And a particularly dandy Peter Spencer, sports editor at the Manchester Evening News. Hello, Peter.
I'm fine, thank you, and I'll be wearing the traditional striped red and black tie with a very smart shirt and cufflinks today.
Thank you. I'm feeling particularly scruffy. So let's talk about the Carling Cup. Your thoughts welcome, of course, 0500 909 693. A fine to the first person who uses the word unfashionable about the final. A fine also to anyone who points out yet again 8 years since an English manager won a trophy. Let's take all those as read. Clem, take us through it the way you're seeing it in your pink T-shirt.
In my pink T-shirt, listen, there is no way that Middlesbrough are going to lose another cup final. I went through that full lot in 97 and in 98. I've only just come out of neuro-linguistic programming. This is their year. They are going to finally land the first trophy after 128 years. And I'm looking at the teams down on paper, and I'm sure, you know, Peter's going to disagree with me and stuff, but just look at the Borough lineup with Mills and Ekiog and Southgate and Mendieta and Zenden and Janino. Just look at the experience running through that team. And then I'm looking at Bolton, and Bolton are a great club, and I've had some great times over there, but Davies and Nolan and Franson, and, you know, they're
just by
okay.
changing the tone of voice doesn't make the team any better or worse, Clem, you know.
I'm convinced. I can't wait to. There's no chance of nailing this by about 1:45, actually, is then I can get a head start and get off.
I'm just writing down neuro-linguistic programming and wondering what on earth you were talking about.
You know, I wonder myself sometimes. You know, well, it was a hard time, you know. I was deeply in a black hole for years and years and years until 5 Live discovered me, and everything's been bright since.
Peter Spencer, is there any way Middlesbrough can lose this final?
Well, basically, I just disagree with virtually everything that your previous contributors just made. I think it's going to be a
You can call him
Bolton
Clem
victory.
if you like.
I think it's going to be a tremendous game. I think people do think it's going to be not that important, but we think it is up here in Manchester, and we take Bolton as a great Manchester club. I think they've got a Kocher who's a tremendous asset. He would go into basically every team, even Arsenal. I think they've got a tremendous goalkeeper, and I think the midfield is strong as well. I think Nolan's going to come even better than he is now, and I think the team is based on fantastic spirit. Bolton deserve something. They struggle so much to make an impact in the Premiership, although this year they've had the best year than ever. I think they're a team in form. They dipped quite horrendously against Manchester City last weekend, and I was at that game, but I think that was more of a case of City wanting to win and Bolton's minds on this game at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff on Sunday.
John Duncan, people often say, oh, it's great to have a final without Arsenal and without Man U and without Liverpool and without Chelsea. I think it's true in this case, isn't it? I mean, it sounds like a cracking match to me.
Yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to it in a strange way. I mean,
Why a strange way?
Because the big games with the big clubs do have an atmosphere around a specific type of atmosphere, and this will have a different type of atmosphere around it. It's very important for the clubs involved. It's less interesting for those outside of those clubs, but I do think it'll probably be a better game than it would be if it was a standard Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United sort of fare. It's interesting because if you look at the Middlesbrough side, I think Clem's right. On paper, it looks to be full of great names and right up there with all of those teams. But I have to say, when I've seen Middlesbrough, and we were talking about this before, they are the dullest team to watch.
Clem mentioned a lot of names there, but you left out Michael Ricketts.
Yeah, well, I'm not expecting him to start, Crofty.
But it's probably an indication. People like Michael Ricketts is an indication as to just why Middlesbrough have been quite dull. And on the few occasions I've seen him this season, he's plodded round the pitch like he's been wearing lead boots. I still think Middlesbrough suffer from a lack of goals, which is why I think Bolton at 7-4 for the match is a cracking price.
I can't understand. Is this the Sam factor? Is this why people everybody seems to be tipping Bolton? Is it the Sam factor? Is it purely the fact that we've got a great back nine but we lack a couple of. I mean, I just
said
don't-
it.
You know, the attacking play is absolutely marvellous now. They have come on leaps and bounds, and I know that Arsenal will fielded a weakened team in those 2 semi-finals, but, you know, they've just won away at Old Trafford the week before last, and they're starting to play well. Janino's in a little hole further forward than when he used to play, and, you know, you just hope that whoever's playing in front of him, probably Joseph Desire Job, will be there to knock 1 or 2 in. Or Ricketts will come off the bench and obviously score 1 or 2.
Well, we don't want Ricketts back, for starters. Campo is going to dominate just in front of the back 4. All the Bolton fans are going to wear these Ivan Campo hats, I believe, which are like Kevin Keegan wigs. So
They probably are Kevin Keegan wigs.
Exactly
the same.
30,000 Bolton fans there, and I understand Middlesbrough couldn't even sell all the tickets, so send some down here. We've had to have a competition for extra tickets, and there must be the biggest entry since we had one for Cheltenham the week before.
I have to say,
5,000 fans entered that competition. I've just been trying to pick the winners out, and I've been ringing them up. That's why I've just come to the phone now to this interview, and they're absolutely ecstatic, the fans. They desperately need success in Bolton. They've got a proud history, much more so than Middlesbrough have ever had, and frankly it's about time Bolton had a bit of glory, and I just hope they do it.
You won the Sherpa Van Trophy in 1989, Peter. What more do you want? We've got to go back to 76 for the Anglo-Scottish. A fine 1-0 on aggregate victory over Fulham for the last time we won a trophy.
Yeah, seriously though, it is great that 2 kind of, and I've got to use that word, unfashionable.
£10 comic relief.
But they are. It does make a more interesting spectacle. We're going to hear about players that other people elsewhere in the country don't necessarily know that much about. So that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to it.
Is it also not a key match for both sides in that Bolton have had their struggles with relegation and need a season whereby A, they're not going to struggle, B, they're going to get to a major final and show that there is a potential to get better in the years to come. And Middlesbrough, Clem, after so many failures in recent years, do desperately need to win a trophy, don't they?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure Steve Gibson, the chairman, feels like that because he's pumped so much money in there and completely redefined the culture. Although you have to say there are great similarities between both teams, don't you know? Both had this yo-yo existence over the last decade, suddenly seem to be stabilising in the Premiership, and, you know, both have got these spanking new stadiums which have completely redefined the culture of both clubs. I mean, Middlesbrough, when they were on their downers, used to be on, I don't know, 8,000 crowds, top end 18,000. Now they've sort of levelled out at, you know, 28, 29,000, something like that. Bolton the same. Both clubs' cultures have been redefined. If they're going to start creeping in and really consolidating their position mid-table Premiership, then they need a trophy on there.
But Clem, when Janino's been saying in interviews that if he gets a winner's medal at the weekend, it'll rank alongside his World Cup winning medal, does anyone, even in Middlesbrough, take that seriously?
Well, he said it to me at the press day on Monday, and I believed him and was dancing on air for a few hours, and it was only then I realised he'd told it to everybody else. That's when I thought, well, I don't know whether you're trotting this one out. He's genuine. He wouldn't come back for a third time, would he?
Now, Paul's a Bolton fan, giving us a call. Hello, Paul.
Hiya, Simon.
Where are you, sir?
I'm in Runcorn where I work.
Okay. What do you think? What were the odds again, Crofty, for a Bolton victory?
Bolton victory you can get, and this is in 90 minutes, 7-4 on Bolton, 7-5 Middlesbrough, 9-4 the draw. Seems to be about the best prices.
What do you think, Paul?
I think it's worth a punt on Bolton, definitely, at those odds, yeah.
How desperate are you for victory on Sunday?
Yeah, I am quite desperate. I went to the last time Bolton were in this final in 1995, and we lost that one to Liverpool, but we were only a first division club then, and now we're a top flight club, and so I've got my hopes up, yeah.
How long have you supported Bolton, Paul?
Oh, good grief, 20 odd years.
I'm just trying to. Was it 87 when you were in the 4th division? Something?
Yes, those dark days, yeah.
I mean, that is an astonishing turnaround now to be firmly established as a Premiership team and challenging for a trophy.
Yes, it is. I mean, we went from the old first division down to Division 4 and then back up again. It's been quite a bumpy ride, really.
Give us a score, Paul, for Sunday afternoon, and a player who, in your opinion, will probably turn it round for you.
I think it could well be a real high-scoring game. I think we're looking at something like 4-3, maybe extra time. And I think you've got to say for Bolton, you have to say Okocha, really. This game is meant for him, but Joe Kiff as well, because he's a player who likes to star. But I think Okocha would be the one.
And what do you make of these stories, Paul, which occasionally circle and have been increasing in the last few weeks about the possibility of your manager departing Bolton and maybe going to Manchester City or one of the other clubs that might be looking for a manager in the next sort of 6 months or so. Can you imagine Bolton without Mr. Allardyce?
I think it's highly unlikely because fans always say this when the managers think of others. But Sam is, he's lived in Bolton since he was 15, and I think for some of the big clubs he's got a very what you might call a cloth cap image. He hasn't. I think a lot of the bigger clubs would like some kind of trendy foreign manager, and I think Sam's got a brash kind of cloth cap, plain speaking image, which he's not currently very popular.
What's your take on that? Peter Spencer at the Manchester Evening News. Any thoughts on Sam Allardyce moving on? Can you imagine that?
Well, I did find it quite alarming, really, that after Bolton were beaten by Manchester City last weekend, on the local radio station, there were calls from some fans calling for Sam's head. I just couldn't believe it. I do think some of these phone-in programmes are balmy anyway, but both Allardyce and McLaren have in fact been linked to Manchester City. If Keegan goes in the summer, so it's ironic that that's another parallel of the two teams. But frankly, I don't think Allardyce will leave Bolton because he's got such a rapport with Garside, the chairman, and he's got a 10-year contract, and he's doing such a smashing job turning round players who kind of been discarded by other clubs such as Davis, Campo, etc., and getting the best out of them. And of course, he's seen that fantastic talent in JJ, which, as I said earlier, every manager would want in their team. He's a sort of player like in Cloud Ceiling, almost George Best, who could just turn it round on that.
He's one of those players, actually, that you pay the admission fee just to see him alone. And I've seen him completely destroy sides single-handedly this year. He's a phenomenal talent.
But I can't see it being high scoring because I think both teams have got such strong defences, and I see it 2-1 Bolton.
Paul, thanks very much indeed for the call. 0500 999 693. You can email mayo at bbc.co.uk. Carling Cup final. We'll look at the situation at Manchester United as well. Some interesting Alan Shearer stories going around, and also England's cricketers about to start their tour of the Caribbean, which sounds a particularly splendid place to be just at the moment. 16 minutes past 1. Joe Sale, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. M57 on Merseyside. An overturned lorry on the roundabout at junction 7. Aintree is causing delays on all approaches. Wiltshire M4 westbound, all lanes are now open between junctions 16 and 17, Wootton Bassett and Malmesbury. So good news there. The accident has been cleared. No doubt traffic still slow though. M25 in Hertfordshire, one lane is closed on the clockwise